Thank you so much for the great musical introduction, Shelveen. Good morning, everybody. I'm Kristen from Archie. I am part of the executive office team at the California Student Aid Commission, and I'm the first one who gets to welcome you to CSAC's April All In and Ready webinar. Many of you are already doing it, so please join in the fun. Use the chat to share with us your location or school site where you are so we can see where people are joining us from all over the state. Today, I wanted to let you know we'll be hearing information and discussion about student-centered advocacy. All right, if we can move to the slides. All right, just a couple of things to cover while we're here. As you noticed, we got started with the music at 9 and endeavor to have you out of here by 10 o'clock. If you have any questions, we want to be sure that you use the Zoom Q&A feature. We have staff standing by and ready to respond. Chat's great for informal comments, but please put your questions in Q&A so we can be sure to answer them and get the information to you that you need. As you may have noticed when you joined, we're recording. All webinars are recorded and they will be posted on our YouTube channel as well as on the Commission's website. And all the resources you're going to see today will be made available. So if you need to start with captions, there's a toggle switch to put those off and on. And the resources, including the slide deck, the recording, and the Q&A will be posted on our website. And everybody will get an email once the webinar is over that has all the information that you need. And finally, we encourage you to join us on social media at the handle listed below. Next slide, please. Just in case anyone is not familiar with who we are, CSAC is the principal state agency administering financial aid programs for public, private, and technical schools in California. That's all to fulfill our mission of promoting educational equity by making post-secondary education affordable for all Californians. We are grateful to have you all here with us today. All right, so on to today's agenda. So we'll have opening and remarks from our very own Executive Director, Dr. Daisy Gonzalez, as well as Commissioner Kiri Saravia. We will provide some brief updates regarding Cal Grant reform, as well as providing resources for this month's student focus, which is Native American and Indigenous students. And you'll hear from our Communications and Marketing Manager, Nikki Kangas, about that. Justin Hurst from our government relations team and Commissioner Saravia will introduce an advocacy discussion and a call to action, which includes students Chris Chandler, Armita Gajaharimi, and Sire Rogers. Finally, we'll wrap up with Chief Deputy Catalina Missler. With that, I'm going to hand it off to our Executive Director, Dr. Daisy Gonzalez. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kristen. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many of you from different communities that we otherwise would probably not get to. So thank you for being here. I want to echo Kristen. There is an entire team behind the scenes. Leslie, John, everyone that you see, Tracy, Teresha, everyone behind the scenes is here to answer any questions you may have live. So please send them a question, a note if you're struggling with a student. Maybe we don't know how to answer a question. That's okay. You have the CSAC team here behind the scenes. They work incredibly hard and they're here supporting today's webinar. We have a really big name for today's webinar. California Leading the Way, Unapologetic Advocacy for Student Success. And there is no way that we could have a webinar like this, especially with a title like that, without handing it over to our students. So that will be the primary focus of today's webinar. Thank you for showing up to support them. And I want to start off today's webinar by introducing a fierce statewide advocate, Commissioner Saravia. So if you go to the next slide, I want to tell you a little bit about her. I know you've seen her in other webinars. You absolutely saw her at our College Affordability Summit. You've seen her all over our social media. And a part of that is because, one, she's a statewide leader. And two, right now she's the only student on our commission. We are still waiting for new appointments from the governor, and so she has been single-handedly been the voice for students on the California Student Aid Commission. But I want to introduce her as a human being, as a leader, because I got to see her behind the scenes. Yes, she is the sole student right now for the California Student Aid Commission, the largest system of financial aid in the United States. She is seeking and inspiring other leaders by serving as the president of her student association at CSU Northridge, so CSUN, for those of you who are in the LA area. She's a first generation college student. And what I admire most is she is that leader, she is that sister, that colleague. And even when something is not inherently a part of her journey or experience, she lifts up the next generation. I can name many different examples for you, but whether it's student parents or undocumented students or students who are seeking to transfer from community colleges to a CSU, she opens the door to bring them along. And I think it just comes very naturally. I also got to see her interact with her sister. She is that sister that encourages her siblings to go to college, and very much, I think, is the adult. And so I admire her courage to be here today, to be that student leader locally in the CSU system. And it's a great honor to have her, number one, say hello to all of you and share a little bit about what her experience has been like as a student and what she needs from all of us as she seeks to graduate very soon. So, with that, Commissioner Saravia, I will hand it over to you. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. That is such a sweet introduction. Executive Director Gonzalez, that actually had me tear up. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Curie Sarabia. As Executive Director Gonzalez had mentioned, I am the sole student commissioner at the moment. Um, and I currently am a senior at California State University, Northridge. I am majoring in English with a minor in Central American and Transborder Studies with the hopes of becoming an educator, a public servant, and an immigration lawyer. Um, but one of the things that made me want to continue into this route of public service is because you often don't, growing up, you often don't see yourself as a public servant. I know growing up, I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me, representing me or vouching for me. And being a first generation student, it's really difficult. And it's not at all uncommon. There are thousands, if not millions, of first generation students navigating this world without any help and without any prior knowledge. I know that for a lot of our students that are here for this webinar, they're navigating this entire world of financial aid and higher education with resources that weren't available before that. So, one of the things that I ask everyone whenever I'm in these spaces, and I ask all of you, is to sit down with your students and ask them what they truly need and what they think about the resources that your institutions and your K through 12 schools have to offer, because oftentimes there are a lot of needs that our institutions can't really address unless we sit down with our students and we ask. There are a lot of gaps that still need to be addressed that are overlooked because we fail to ask those questions and we fail to listen to these stories. It this isn't going to be an issue that is resolved by just one person, and it's not going to be an issue that is resolved by tomorrow. But it does take a village. It really does. And in order to make sure that some of us are not the last ones in our family, we need to make sure that we continue to uplift those after us and those that had to fight to make sure that after them, we were able to be here. So that's honestly my biggest ask, to just listen to our student leaders and to our student voices, because every story, although it's not uncommon anymore, there are still major differences and major asks that we need to address. But I welcome you all. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here and to listen to us and to just be in a space where you can really understand where we come from. So thank you again, and I'll pass it back to Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Commissioner Saravia. You're going to hear a little bit more from Commissioner Saravia shortly. But I want to put into context why our students, why a handover. Here in Sacramento and at the statewide level, we're getting ready for the May revise. So this is when the governor puts out his state budget. It's with updated numbers, both fiscally and in spending. Projections across the state change all the time, particularly for entitlement programs like the Cal Grant program. And so now here we are in April, getting ready to think about what is it that we want to uplift for elected officials in the state of California. And for that, we need our students. So I want to go to the next slide because when I think about advocacy and I think about our students, I care about the students that we're serving today and the students that we're going to serve in the future. And I want to acknowledge all of your hard work. You all know that in our last webinar, so back in March, when we survived the March 2nd deadline, we were celebrating being third in the country, third in this entire United States, a place we had not been in a while because of many, many challenges, if you recall. But here we are, 59.8% of students being reached. And we know we're not done. This is the class of 2026. In an ideal world, we would have reached all of them, but 59.8%. But look at who's right behind us. Texas. They caught up to us. They caught up to us. And look, they already have Texas barbecue. We can't let them have this too. And we know that we have a larger population of students. And so I want to put up this slide for two reasons. Number one, we've got to keep going. We've got to reach the class of 2026 before they graduate in May, before they graduate in June. And so you're going to see some communication, some more outreach from us. And of course, we want to encourage any student and remind them that community colleges are always a viable option and that that deadline is September 2nd. But in the meantime, we can't fall asleep at the wheel. This graphic specifically is also really important for us because we measure ourselves and think about how we're going to set up ourselves for the future. And so something like this should also encourage us to really think about, well, we've encouraged at this point 60% of high school students to apply for financial aid. Now we have to make sure that that financial aid is there because an application only gets them through the door. Now we've got to get them to actually be eligible to get paid to enroll in higher education. So if you go to the next slide, please. So what does that mean? It means that you've also seen a slide like this one before, where at the statewide level, the California Student Aid Commission is really focused on supporting critical infrastructure, building affordable pathways, safeguarding vulnerable populations. You're going to hear a little bit about that in today's webinar. I want to focus on two because this is brand new information for all of us. So brand new in the sense that we now have a sense of how much this might cost. Where is this headed as a state? It's very hard to put a dollar amount to any calculations because it's all based on student enrollment and student actions, essentially. But we want to walk through two of them. The first one is walking through what it would mean to allow students who are transferring from a community college to a four-year institution to expand that age to the age of 30. Right now, we cap it at the age of 28. And the second thing I will briefly talk about is Cal Grant C. This is a program in our state that's meant to help create career technical education programs to make it more affordable. And so we'll talk a little bit about those because these are two big opportunities for advocacy as we head into May. Next slide, please. So the first conversation we need to have together as a community is Cal Grant reform. Many of you fought extremely hard to make sure that the state, from when Cal Grant was first established in 1955, could begin to have a conversation. In 2018, you saw incredible bills be introduced to try to transform it. SB 291, started by the community college system. At the time I was there, all the way to the leadership of so many of you, especially students, where CSAC joined students and then asked for Cal Grant reform, funded by philanthropy, a lot of research, a lot of social justice organizations, to ultimately be able to put in legislation that Cal Grant reform should be changed. How? By getting rid of age, by getting rid of time since high school, by getting rid of GPA. That's now in law, and it was adopted almost 4 years ago, but it hasn't been funded. So this is a promise that we made to the students of California that has not become a reality. And so, yes, we had a whole global pandemic. Yes, our state's fiscal resources changed. And so we have now an opportunity for students to continue to lead the way and to show us what is possible. I think about it as a Cal Grant down payment, right? Sometimes we have to start taking that first next step. So, next slide. For California, as we head into May, what are those next first steps? I presented to you the transfer entitlement program. On this graph, you're seeing in 2024-25 the number of community college students who are actually transferring. So you're seeing transfer all the way to age 75. That's beautiful. That shows you that community college students actually want access to four-year degrees. They want to continue their education. And what do you see? The two peak years, 29 and 30. And largely it's because it's capped at 28. But imagine a world where we could actually fund all of those 29 and 30-year-olds and actually help them be eligible for the Cal Grant. So our down payment, right? We talked about down payments. What can we afford today? How do we take that first next step? Because we know we want to get there, because we made a promise to students. What would it take for us to get there this year? Next slide. This is the first time you're going to see this slide. And so I want to ask you to take a picture. One, for you to think about what it could look like to integrate this into your advocacy campaigns, to talk to your elected officials about this. But these are some of the districts already leading this change and transformation this year. This is their advocacy call to action. They are asking that in this year's May revise, and in particular before the budget gets signed in June, that we consider funding those students who are 29 and 30-year-olds, those students who are transferring from a community college to finally a four-year institution. It's happening, it's possible. And here you're seeing an estimate. It's an estimate because you're using prior year projections. You look at how many students from the past could potentially be transferring. These are the students who, for us, applied, would have been eligible, except for the fact that they were 29 and 30-year-olds. So nearly a $9.8 million investment. That's what it would take for California to fund the next generation of students seeking a baccalaureate degree. So if you could all take a picture, think about this. And especially as our students are speaking, I'm hoping Chris can say a little bit more about this from the community college system, because this is a really big pipeline issue for many of our community college students. Next slide, please. Another key area is in the modernization of what we call Cal Grant C. You have a program in the state of California who's seeking to help low-income students. These dollars are meant to help support the cost of career technical education, everything from vocational to technical to occupational. So costs for supplies, books, tuition, it's a modest grant, but it gets you into the Cal Grant. The challenge with the program like this is here statewide, we can only give out 7,761 awards. Imagine, think about how many students actually apply every year, 2.2 million. And this award is capped at 7,761. It's also capped by the number of weeks that a program is, and then also the field of study. So the modernization on the right side that you're seeing is really thinking about who are we actually serving and who do we need to serve in the future. So in the May revise and in our advocacy as we head to May, we're asking for this program to be transformed, to actually serve the students that want access to career technical education. First, by aligning the program so that students can stack up aid, particularly with Workforce Pell being introduced to states. Then aligning the fields of study so that we could actually target high places, meaning the industry where jobs are being created for the future. And then streamlining the process, getting rid of some of the confusion. Sometimes because of the length of the program, you have to prorate the award. The cost doesn't necessarily go away, particularly because many of these students are more likely to have dependents. And then lastly, we want to increase the number of awards. You see on the left side, 120,000 potential applicants. And so we turn away the majority of students that could be eligible. We're seeking a modest increase of 50% more awards. So could we increase the number of awards to 11,641? I want you to keep this in mind because these are solutions. These are down payments, but behind them are real students, real students who are seeking access to higher education. And I want to go to the next slide because I've been in education for more than 20 years, starting my career in K through 12 as a third grade teacher to the role that I now play today. And I've been very intentional about every job that I take. I take a job because I want to dream, I want to learn, I want to grow, and I've been doing a lot of that in this job. But a part of that journey for me has been elevating the next generation who's actually going through these challenges and can actually tell us what is shifting in real time and what would have made their journey a lot easier. So I want to thank our students who are here today, Katie, Chris, Armita, Saray. Thank you for being here. Thank you for using your voice for good. And I want to hand over the webinar to the team behind the scenes who's going to be working with the students for the rest of this webinar. Thank you for your work. Thank you for rowing in the same direction. And never forget that while we're advocating, no matter what we're advocating for, but especially in college affordability, you're carrying the dreams of 2.2 million California students, 2.2 million who are seeking access to higher education. And so there will always be a lot to do, a lot more solutions to take. So with that, I want to hand it over to Nikki Kangas, who is our Public Information Officer. She has a longer job title, but she's going to tell you where a lot of this advocacy campaign lives. Thank you, Nikki.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. I'm Nikki Kangas, the Communications and Marketing Manager for the California Student Aid Commission. And today I'm very excited to share a new tool that we've created to strengthen and expand our advocacy work. And it's on our website, csac.ca.gov/advocacy. And before I kind of show you what that looks like, I want to ground us in why this matters and why you should care and want to go check the website out after this call. When we say unapologetic advocacy, we mean being clear about who we serve, what they need, and where the gaps are. Because the reality is, California's 2.2 million students are navigating college and career pathways while balancing work, family, and financial pressures. And our role isn't just to administer financial aid, it's to identify the barriers that they face and to advocate at both the state and federal levels for solutions that remove those barriers. And that's where our advocacy work comes in. At CSAC, we play a critical role in advancing college affordability through government relations and policy leadership. We bring forward data and analysis and assess how programs actually impact students. And we translate what we hear from communities into concrete policy and budget proposals. In other words, we connect lived experience to legislative action. And that matters because a state budget is more than just numbers, it's a reflection of our collective values. So if we truly believe in equity and in education as a force that can transform lives and strengthen California's economy, then our investments need to reflect the realities our students are living today. We envision a California where students don't just access higher education, but have the support they need to focus, persist, and thrive, and ultimately inspire the generations that follow. Well, we can't build that future alone, and that's exactly why we created this new advocacy webpage. Next slide, please. So csac.ca.gov/advocacy. This page is more than a resource. It's an open invitation to stay informed, to see what we're advocating for, and most importantly, to take action alongside us, because advocacy is strongest when it's shared. On this page, there are 4 key ways that you can engage with our advocacy work. First, you can read about our current priorities and stay informed by signing up for our government relations newsletter. If you visit csac.ca.gov and scroll all the way to the footer, you can subscribe to the listservs that matter to you most. And second, you can raise your voice. This page includes tools to find your representatives, guidance on writing support letters, and opportunities to elevate what you're seeing on the ground. Third, you can partner with us, whether it's requesting a speaker for an event, collaborating on workshops, or sharing resources with your community. The Request CSAC support form is your entry point to deeper collaboration. And fourth, you can connect directly with our government relations team, Share your ideas, ask questions, and start conversations that keep this work moving forward. Because when our voices align, we don't just influence policy, we expand what's possible for students. And speaking of what is possible, next slide, please. So our April student focus is on supporting Native American and Indigenous students. And you can find our April toolkit at csac.ca.gov/student-focus/April with ready-to-use resources like social media graphics, FAQs, and one-pagers to help raise awareness about college affordability. And this focus is urgent. In the 2024 to 2025 academic year, 46% of Native American and Indigenous students did not apply for financial aid. And that's not just a statistic, it's a signal, a clear gap in access that should be an alarm bell for all of us. So let's work together to change that narrative by honoring the voices, histories, and aspirations of Native communities, raising awareness that financial aid is available, and furthering equitable access to higher education. And before I pass it over, next slide, please. I want to connect this work to something bigger. CSAC has just completed the first year of implementing our Student Success Blueprint, our 5-year roadmap for improving college affordability across California. We'll soon be releasing a year 1 impact report to share our progress with both our partners and the communities that we serve. And the takeaway is this: what we're doing together is working. When we boldly support students, name the barriers they face, and align our internal work around a shared vision, we begin to see real change. And advocacy is a critical part of that. Because when we identify barriers through the blueprint, we don't stop there. We take those barriers to the halls of the Capitol and fight to remove them. And we invite you to be part of that effort. And so with that, I'll now turn it over to CSAC Commissioner Kiri Saravia and CSAC Government Relations Manager Justin Hurst.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Hello again, everyone. So one of the things that Justin and I really wanted to highlight was honestly the importance of just being able to invest back into all of our resources. As you can see, a lot of our critical programs, they cost a lot of money. Our Cal Soaps help serve more more than half of the entire population of K through 12. And even for us, like internally, it's a lot of money to be able to serve all of our college students here in the state of California. And then on top of that, there's still a lot of work that has to be done to open up a lot of our pathways. The integration of workforce Pell for our adult learners, we want to make sure that our adult learners are able to feel like the state of California sees them and wants to make sure that they can go into higher education. Modernizing Cal Grant C, it is just one of those awards that can serve so many more students if we invest just a tad is bit more into it. As you can see, with the expansion, it could lead to a little over 15,000 awards being granted more. And then our Cal Grant transfer entitlement being expanded to the age of 30, just our reinvestment into our adult learners, and then safeguarding a lot of our vulnerable populations, being able to make sure that uh all of our programs are student-centered. It's really, really important, especially with the way that our federal government is changing a lot of the ways that our financial aid system is working. California has to be right behind it, being ready to pick up any student that might be affected by those changes. And then it's just preserving all of our key programs. Our Golden State Teacher Grant is so, so important for a lot of our students that want to become educators. It's expensive to become an educator, and a lot of the times students become educators, not because of the pay. It's because they truly, truly care about being that educator and being someone that can teach the next generation. Our middle class scholarship has been able to pick up a lot of our students that wouldn't originally have been eligible for some of our Cal Grant programs, but still deserve to be able to get that financial aid from the state of California. And I'll pass it over to Justin to continue the conversation.
All right. Thank you so much. And good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us early on this Thursday morning. Obviously, these programs are something that is familiar to all of you, and we've talked about it at length today. But I think from a policy perspective, it's also useful to ground ourselves in this conversation. And we're fortunate today to be joined by three students who can speak to the impact of some of these programs. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them to speak to their experience and why it is important to advocate for the continuation of these programs. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Chris, who is joining us today. Chris, if you don't mind introducing yourself, and then if you could also speak to the importance of Cal Grant C, why that program is important to you, and why it's important to the future for California.
Definitely. Thank you, Justin, and also thank you to Commissioner Sarabia and Executive Director Dr. Gonzalez. Really appreciate all the work that all of you do, as well as the rest of the CSAC team. Good morning, everyone. My name's Chris Chandler, and I'm a student at Southwestern College, located in Chula Vista, which is in the San Diego area. I'm a student returning to higher education after years in the workforce, and my major is business administration. And I also have the privilege of representing community college students by serving as the Vice President of the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. And today I want to talk a little bit about the importance of financial aid programs like Cal Grant Transfer Entitlement and Cal Grant C. For many of us coming back to college as adult learners, it's not only about getting a degree, it's about rebuilding, redefining, and creating new opportunities for ourselves and our families. Programs like Cal Grant C are not just financial support systems, they're lifelines. As an adult learner, I juggle responsibilities that go beyond the classroom, such as work, bills, and family obligations. Without financial aid, higher education for me would be out of reach. Cal Grant C helps remove that barrier. It allows students like me to focus less on survival and more on classroom success. And this program is important because it also represents access. It means students don't have to choose between paying bills or buying textbooks. It means you can invest time in studying, participating in extracurriculars like student leadership, and preparing for a meaningful career in your major. But this isn't just about the individual impact as well. Financial aid programs like Cal Grant C play a critical role in shaping the future of California. Our state depends on skilled and educated members of the workforce to remain competitive and innovative. Adult learners are a huge part of that equation. We bring real-world experience, determination, and perspective into our classrooms and eventually into our careers. When programs like Cal Grant C support us, they're not just helping students, but they're also helping our communities and our economy as a whole. California's future depends on that inclusion and that opportunity. And when we invest in students like myself and other adult learners through financial aid programs like Cal Grant C, we're also investing in growing high demand fields and in our overall economy. Cal Grant C is essential because it ensures that financial hardship doesn't stand in the way of that progress for students. And if I can speak a little bit for a moment to talk directly to other students, whether you're a traditional student or an adult learner like me, advocating for financial aid programs is the same as advocating for your future. Make sure you share your story, stay informed, and don't underestimate the power of your voice. To school administrators and professionals who are watching this, I urge you to continue to support your students by raising awareness about programs like Cal Grant C and the Cal Grant Transfer Entitlement. It's the difference between students completing their academic journey or not. And to any policymakers or legislative staffers who might be watching this, financial aid is so transformative and powerful. Investing in Cal Grant C and other programs like it is not just a budget decision, but it's a decision about equity and investing in our communities. And I also just want to share that when it comes to expanding financial aid, it's critical because it allows us to include more students who come from underprivileged backgrounds, non-traditional backgrounds. It also ensures that more students have an opportunity to participate and be involved in our education system. In closing, I would just like to share that Cal Grant C is more than just financial aid. The Cal Grant Transfer Entitlement is more than just financial aid. It's an opportunity for students to access college who would not be able to otherwise. It's a bridge that connects students from where they are to where they want to be. And for students like me, it makes the impossible feel possible. So I invite any school administrators, faculty members, staff members, policymakers, and all the students attending this webinar to please help secure financial aid funding, which is crucial to student success, by submitting a letter of support of the California Student Aid Commission's budget priorities. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about myself and the importance of how Cal Grant C helps adult learners like myself. And I will pass it back.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your experience as well as speaking to the importance of why CSAC is committed to building affordable pathways for our students, whether they be adult learners or not. Next slide, please. All right, so the next student will be speaking to some of the importance regarding safeguarding our vulnerable populations here in California, in particular, some of the ongoing advocacy that CSAC is spearheading for ensuring that the California DREAM Act application is an option for all of the students in our state. So without further ado, I will introduce Armita. Armita, if you don't mind, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Justin. Hi, my name is Armita Gajirahimi. I grew up in San Mateo, California, but I just moved to Richmond, so big love for the East Bay. And I'm a third year political science student at UC Davis. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the California DREAM Act application and the Dreamer Incentive Program and how I really believe that it represents what education in California and in the entire country should be about, which is inclusion. I come from a single parent immigrant family, and the only way that I can afford my college education here at UC Davis is through access to financial aid. And many undocumented students need the California DREAM Act or the Dreamer Incentive Program to go to college. And that's a right and opportunity that all students everywhere should be able to have. And everyone should care about the California DREAM Act because we were all students once with aspirations and dreams for a bright future that education and higher education can get you to. And at the end of the day, everyone deserves a right to get an education, no matter your citizenship status or anything to that degree. And these programs are important to the future of California because it directly invests into the future of our great state. CADA and the Incentive Grant Program are expanding access for undocumented and mixed status students to get higher education and to be able to go to whatever school that they are hoping and dreaming to get to. And this then, in turn, will strengthen California's future workforce and create a more equitable education environment in California. And if more students are able to earn degrees through having access to CADA or through having the grant program, they can work to achieve their dreams and just give back to their communities if that's what they want to do. So through saying all these things, I want to invite my fellow students, anyone in this webinar, school administration, college professional, anyone in the legislature to support CSAC's programs through learning about our budget and policy priorities and submitting letters of support, like Chris said, or attending public hearings and just learning more, giving public comment, and supporting and advocating for programs like the California DREAM Act application and the Dreamer Incentive Program, because those programs mean supporting the dreams of so many students in California, like myself, who deserve the right to have access to education just like everyone else does. And I will pass it back to Justin.
All right, thank you so much, Armita. I could not have said that better myself. Next slide, please. Last but not least, I will invite our final student that is joining us, Saray, to speak to the importance of preserving some of our key programs, namely the Golden State Teacher Grant.
Thank you, Justin, and good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining all throughout our state. Thank you, Commissioner Sarivia. Thank you, Justin, for introducing me. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and also thank you, Sin Queen, for inviting me to speak. I feel really honored. I'm actually in Sacramento right now as we speak for the second time in under a month. I've been working with EdVoice, which is a nonprofit that focuses on education policy. And they've flown me out here to lobby and to uplift the Golden State Teachers Grant, among other important legislative initiatives going on in the budget hearings today. And as a result of speaking a few weeks ago, I was honored and privileged and blessed to be invited today to speak with CSAC. So, I'm very glad to be here. And I just kind of wanted to give you guys that background before I went into my official statements, because I just can't stress how critical it is to preserve these grants and opportunities for all students throughout California. But as Justin said, my name is Saray Rogers, and I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm currently pursuing a post-grad degree at California State, Dominguez Hills. Completing my teacher credential this semester, and my background is in music education. I currently actually already serve as a teacher resident working at Fremont High School, which is a high needs school. And I'm also a fellow with the Watts of Power Foundation. And this is a teacher preparation program that was actually started by one of my former elementary school teachers, Dr. Watts. And so the Golden State Teacher Grant has been essential to my journey. My transportation and housing, for example, I could not imagine how difficult these basics would be in making my credential a reality. Like many aspiring educators, I faced the reality that becoming a teacher in California requires a significant financial commitment while also demanding full-time commitment in both the classroom and my credential program. So the support from this program allowed me to remain focused on my development as a prospective and upcoming teacher, and without being pushed away by financial barriers. Beyond the classroom, this year has been important for me in terms of public advocacy, as I was saying. I just had the opportunity to come and speak a few weeks ago, and I'm back today. This is helping me elevate my perspective, and I'm grateful that it has led to opportunities such as being with you all here today. I've also contributed public commentary within LAUSD as a teacher resident, and talking about issues such as affordable housing and recognizing that strong, stable communities are directly connected to strong schools and student success. So I just want to take a moment again to acknowledge EdVoice for their leadership. They've been very instrumental also in uplifting these bills and support systems for students, prospective students, families, and teachers. So, again, this Golden State Teachers Grant represents more than individual support. It's an investment in the total future of California across groups and sectors. So we know that teacher shortages continue to impact our schools, particularly in communities that need consistent and well-prepared educators the most. So programs like this ensure that those individuals are ready and committed to serve and are able to enter their profession. Our moment is critical. The decisions we make now about supporting educators will shape the direction of our schools and communities for years to come. When we invest in teachers, we invest in stability, opportunity, and long term success. So I just, as Armita was just saying, I want to encourage students, educators, administrators, and policymakers to continue supporting the Golden State Teachers Grant and similar programs, whether it's writing a letter or making calls or sharing it on your social media. We want to expand access to the teaching profession and making sure that we get past this necessary step for our future in our state. So again, thank you all to all of the 500 people that showed up. You're doing your part, and I'm grateful for your all support and helping me achieve my goals. So thank you, and thank you again to CSAC.
Thank you, Saray, both for your continued advocacy as well as coming to the webinar to speak today while you're in Sacramento, directly advocating for this program. Next slide, please. To wrap up, I'd like to invite everyone to do a couple of things in line with advocating for all of these programs that were shared with you today. Number one, now that we have a government relations website, I would encourage you to visit that website so you can learn more about our budget and policy priorities as an agency. Second, for those priorities, I would encourage you to submit a support letter or attend a public hearing if you are able to make it to Sacramento to voice your support for these programs and the continuing support that the state can provide them. And lastly, I would encourage you to share these resources with others within your network or inviting directly others to support our programs by submitting support letters themselves. And before I hand it off to our next speaker, I would like to close by, next slide, please. Inviting everyone to join me in congratulating some of our students that are members of the class of 2026. The 6 that are on this call are included here, as well as many of you, I am sure. If anyone who is graduating would like to share what they are planning to do next, this is a moment where we would love to hear from you, both for all of your ongoing work that you have done to get to this point, and as well as be excited for your futures. All right. Well, I know we're running up on time, so if you have anything to share in the chat, I would encourage it. That being said, I am happy to hand it off to our Deputy Director, Catalina Missler.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you all of the students today who are here as just real witnesses of what life is on a campus and what they hear the stories from their student peers and just the understanding they have and the passion that they have to do this work and knowing once they graduate, their work will continue and to be advocates and to be in the real world to face those issues and face them front forward moving and be able to advocate for the work that they're doing today and will continue in their future. So appreciate all of you and wish you the best and know that we will see you in this line of work in the future. With that, next slide. Reminders. So again, appreciate everyone. I get excited about these webinars every month, just knowing how we're able to communicate with many of you, stakeholders statewide, and especially those regions who want to learn about what's happening in the financial aid world and what tools and resources are available to do the good work. When they wake up every morning and think about what their day is planned, they know that they have the support from all of us here and all of our partners and the resources that we make available to you. Next slide. So again, I think we've touched upon many of these. If you haven't yet and you've joined us today, please make sure that if you want more information, sign up for our special alerts and grant operations memos to learn about the work that we're doing, reminders and information of what we learn as well to share with you. Again, as we've talked about our new government relations website, please make sure you check on that to see the status of the work that we're doing and advocating for. And then our toolkits. Remember, we have a lot of toolkits. We have social media templates. We have a lot that we would be able to use, and we're hoping that many of you take advantage of that and utilize what we have made available for you. And again, as we talk about the undocumented students and those students yet who still are considering or maybe not considering continue their educational pathway, but we want to be able to continue to advocate for these students and to be able to reach out to them and encourage them and let them know that it is safe to apply. And I know that ultimately they and their families will make decisions, but that's what we want to be able to provide them. We want to have those conversations, and sometimes they're difficult conversations to have, but we want to share with them the knowledge that we know and the expertise and just continue that support for them. So please utilize our iHeart California Dream Act tools to be able to share with those students and families, and also to place in places where they know that they are safe to talk about applying for the California Dream Act application as an undocumented student. Next slide. Reminders again. So we continue to do the work here at CSAC. We continue to have free train the trainer, cash for college workshops. So please make sure that you visit those sites on the dates that we're offering those, virtual and in person. So encourage students who have not yet filed. Again, we're now, as we are now past the March 2nd deadline, we're moving towards that September 2nd deadline, and there's still many students who have not yet filed for financial aid and haven't made that decision. But even if they haven't made the decision to go, please encourage them to fill out that application so that they can see the resources available for them and enroll and apply for community college. There's still time, and that's what we continue to remind. There's still time. And sign up for our listservs to receive our latest communications. And then if you haven't yet seen our Race to Submit dashboard, we encourage everybody to take a look. Even if it's something in your neighborhood that you want to see how your local high schools are doing, please look at our Race to Submit dashboard and check out to see if there's anything that you also can do and how you can support those high schools that may be behind or below the statewide averages. So we continue to encourage you to use that, and even encourage their parents and even students to look to see how their schools are doing and reach out to, if those students have already applied and they've done their part, then hopefully they can also be advocates on their campus and encourage their high school senior peers to also apply and learn about the resources made available to them. Next slide. So we have as we mentioned earlier, about our students that we're uplifting this month to support Native American and Indigenous students. We will be hosting a webinar on April the 29th from 9 to 10. And we're bringing in partners and experts that will share information about what resources and the work that they're doing to reach out to these population of students. And we want to be able to share that information, and also hopefully other campuses and other organizations can continue to support this work and also encourage their own campuses to establish these resources available to these population of students. So please join us if you can. And then our upcoming commission meeting on May the 14th at 9 a.m. If you want to hear what the latest is on our advocacy work, and we ask you to join that and also to learn more information about the work that the commission is doing. So that is Thursday, May the 14th. Hope you can all join. Next slide. Our next webinar will be Thursday, June the 11th, and it is Community Colleges for You, the September 2nd campaign. Again, we encourage you to continue the work for those students who still need to apply and are wavering whether they're going to go or not. September 2nd, September 2nd, September 2nd. So we hope that you can all join us in supporting these students and reaching out to those families and those schools where they still need student support to help them get through the finish line of applying for financial aid for this upcoming fall. Next slide. I think that's it. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time.